Todd, are we ready? And Jessica, are we good? Okay. How about that? I get to use that. I'm going to call to order the Consolidated Justice Information Board meeting. It is 10 o'clock Saturday. That's not Saturday. It's Friday, September 11th, 2020. And if we could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. It is now time for public comment. Is there anyone signed up via WebEx or sent an email? Okay. And is there anyone at the public kiosk to speak?
There is not.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we will move on to the election of chair. Oh, I think we should have done roll call. How about that before we go on to any election? Miss Jessica, would you mind calling roll? I just wanted to get right to the meat of it, I guess.
The Honorable Nikki Alvarez-Soles.
Present.
The Honorable Robert Dillinger. Mr. Jim Weaver.
Hold on, just working on this new button.
He is here. Oh,
He's here.
okay, I see him. Miss Melissa Fuller.
Yep, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Mr. Chris Dudley. Mr. Jeffrey Steinsnyder.
Here.
Miss Vicky Marr.
Here.
Thank you. Captain Eric Seltzer.
Here.
Chief Kim Bogart.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Jessica. I have 5, so we have a quorum. So thank you all for joining us, because without one of you, we wouldn't be able to move forward with today's meeting. So I greatly appreciate everybody's attendance. So now we can move to election of chairman. And again, I am happy to step down as chair if anybody would like to be chair.
Move we reappoint Ms. Alvarez-Soles as chair of this committee.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Steinsnyder, seconded quickly by Mr. Seltzer. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Is it a roll call? Oh, it is a roll call.
Yeah, it should be.
See, Miss Jessica keeps me on my toes. It's Friday. Yes. Thank you. So we will do it by roll call vote. So, Miss Jessica.
Sorry, hold on there.
Okay, sorry. The Honorable Nikki Alvarez-Soles. No.
Well, I guess I can, yes, approve.
The Honorable Robert Dillinger is not here. Mr. Jim Weaver.
Approved.
Miss Melissa Fuller. Here. Mr. Chris Dudley. Mr. Jeffrey Steinsnyder.
Aye.
Miss Vicky Marr. Captain Eric Seltzer.
Aye.
Chief Kim Bogart. Thank you.
He's not
Motion
here.
passes.
Motion passes. Is that what I heard? Thank you. Okay. So we'll move on.
Congratulations, Ms. Chairman.
Thank you. Here, I should do this then. Hey. Okay. the perks of being chair is that you get to use the gavel. So anytime anyone wants to use the gavel, they can be chair.
I didn't know that. I mean, it's considered running it by now.
Okay.
No.
We want to revote on that? Okay, so we'll move on. Approval of the minutes from June 12th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
So we have a motion from Captain Seltzer, a second from Mr. Steinsnyder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote.
This is a roll call vote? Yes. All right, we'll do it by roll call vote. Madam Rodriguez, please.
The Honorable Nick Alvarez Soles,
Aye.
Mr. Jim Weaver,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffrey Steinsnyder,
Aye.
Ms. Vicky Maher,
Aye.
Captain Eric Seltzer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Betty, did you have a question?
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the next item, which is the, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Does someone have something to say? No? Okay. All right, so then we'll move on to scheduling the quarterly meetings for the calendar year 2021. We provided a list of dates ahead of time to see if they were all right with everyone's schedule. So here are the dates for 2021, March 12th, June 11th, September 10th, and December 10th. Do any of those dates conflict with any of your schedules?
No.
Okay. Okay, hearing none, I would like to propose these dates as the dates moving forward for 2021. Is everybody in agreement? I don't believe a motion is needed to schedule future dates, but I just want to make sure that those dates are good with you all. And then what we'll do is send out an email formalizing these dates with the appointment. All right. Sounds good. Hearing none, then that's what we will move forward with. Now, before I move on to the meat of our meeting, I wanted to talk just more administratively for a few moments before we move into our next one. And that is, in this virtual world with the pandemic, trying to ensure that this board complies with all of the requirements. So a little bit of a hiccup with whether we needed the quorum present or not, was kind of worked around that. And we don't, for this board meeting, need a quorum to be present in person. So when we continue to move forward, if you would like to appear virtually, then yes. So that goes to when we vote, if we are not present and some are virtual, we have to do a roll call vote. That's the reason for our roll call votes when we vote. And I appreciate Mr. Steinsnyder keeping me on my toes today to remind me that it's a roll call vote, and Ms. Jessica to also help in that. So just new and a little different, so we'll get to that. However, when researching that issue, I wanted to look at our bylaws, and what we found was that our formal approved bylaws, if you remember a couple of years ago, we made some edits to our bylaws, such as we said the individual or their designee, and we also increased quorum from 3 to 5 because our board had expanded. So I wanted to go first to our bylaws to see what it said. And what we did not do as a board a couple of years ago was formalize the final bylaws and put them in the public record. So I have an electronic version of what this board, the then board, had worked on, but nothing formal and finalized was put into public record. So what I'm going to do is, after this meeting, I will email out, or I'll have Lori email out the most latest version that I have electronically. So if you all would review them before our next meeting, because at our next meeting, then we will vote to approve it and formalize it and put it into the public record. So when we go back to look, or future board members go back to look, we will have that. And it was very interesting little research project, because then I thought, well, when did this board come into existence? And it came into existence in 1977. And Harold Sample was the one who had created this board through the Criminal Advisory Committee, which I don't believe is around anymore. So I wanted to do a little history search on that and to continue on that route. But when I called Harold and I said, hey, can you tell me the whole purpose of this group and why and everything? He goes, you want me to remember from 43 years ago what we did? So it was a very fun little trip down memory lane. If you all were born and around at that time, it was pretty interesting. So I just want to let you know about the bylaws and sending them out in the little research project about the existence and creation of this group, this board in and of itself. So if there are no questions or comments on that, then I'll go ahead and do that. Vicki, you look like you have something, but you're on mute, I think.
Sorry. I just wanted to let you know, I got a message from Carrie Crea. She is here. She's on, but she's having problems with her microphone.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so if you need to speak, those of you who have problems with your microphone, it's because you're an attendee and you're muted. So that means you can watch the meeting and you can listen to the meeting, but you can't speak. So if you need to speak, just click the little raise hand button and we'll unmute you.
But Carrie is in for Bob Dillinger.
Okay.
That is
So she should be promoted.
Do you issue promotions all the time? All right, thank you. We've got that fixed. So Carrie, are you able to speak? Can you hear us? Just want to make sure she can come through.
Hello? Oh, hello.
Carrie, we hear you.
Yes, thank you.
So the record will reflect that Carrie is here to represent Mr. Dillinger. Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next item, which is number 7 on our agenda. Interfaces, reports, and upgrades. Tim Jameson, Director of IT for the Clerk and Controller. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Are you able to hear me okay?
We can.
Very good.
I like your office. It looks very nice.
Thank you.
Like Patrick has the same office though.
Yeah, it's the 2 IT guys. They like the trees.
Yeah. If you recall from our June meeting, we were expecting an upgrade for Clericus product, and we did indeed receive that in July. It's driven, the upgrade has mostly state level mandates in it, guardianship audit requirements, TCATS ICD, more electronic processing via the portal. So we received that in July, and we did a lot of early testing in the clerk's office with just basic functionality and gave them the errors back. And then we received another version of that, which had most of those errors were attempted to be fixed. And I believe the majority of them were. There were still 1 or 2 little things that were still stuck on there. And then there was a beta that was released then for the state and the PD side. So I'll let Pat give you an update on their progress testing that. We are expecting this to be the last beta release. They feel that they're close to having all of the reported issues fixed. We'll have to see if there's any additional issues that come out of the testing from the state and the PD side. The most of the delay, we did expect to have this installed in August at the latest. Most of the delay, though, was making sure that the credit card chip reader terminals were working properly in Clericus. So that's a change. The current chip reader terminals are basically swipe card types, so this is an upgrade, and they had to work on the interface for that. We're also expecting to receive a hot fix prior to this beta release that it addresses a couple of type code changes that are needed for UCR compliance. So we don't expect widespread testing to be needed for that. It should just basically be a couple of table updates and minimal testing for that. One thing that we found that's not going to get fixed for us in this release that we were hoping for is that the citations piece had some enhancements in it, and one enhancement was being able to set up some auto processing for payments as they come in payment portals. And that's not going to work for us initially because of us having multiple court locations, but that will be fixed for the next release. Other new functionality is working, e-service. So that's built into the product now. So we need to examine how we're going to use that. There's guardianship enhancements, and the other than that, auto processing, the testing's really going well. So we're expecting, summarize again, the testing that we're doing now to be completed sometime and receive the new full version in October. And we're expecting in the meantime to receive a very minor hot fix table. And so that's my update.
Thank you, Tim. Are there any questions or comments for Tim? Okay, we don't hear any. Thank you very much, Tim, for your update. We're going to move on to the other IT guru, Pat Brose with County IT, for your update. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. As Tim mentioned, we do have a beta version, which I installed for the state attorney and public defender. There was a database change in the name, and so I had to request a firewall update to allow that to happen. That has not happened yet. I'm waiting on BTS to make that change. As soon as they make that change, I will let the state attorney and the public defender to go ahead and try and do more testing on this beta version. There wasn't a whole lot of changes in this version, so mainly for some of the things that Tim had mentioned about having multiple email addresses per the party, those type of things flowed through to both systems. So that is where we stand on that. So hopefully next week we'll be able to do more testing on the beta version. We will still have, once a full release is done, we will do more testing in QA before we promote this to production. So this will not be the last time that we review this, but we just want to make sure that everything is working and functioning properly as we know today. That's all I have.
Thank you, Pat. Are there any questions or comments for Pat?
Yes, this is Jim Weaver. I wanted to verify the courts would actually have a little time frame there to do some testing before the go live.
Tim should be able to handle that. That'd be with the core system.
Yeah, we'll make sure that you have an opportunity to do that. I will check with my project coordinator and see if she's reached out to anybody on your team yet and what they've done off the list. I know we have a list of key things that you typically need to test. I don't know. I don't think it's comprehensive, but I do think it's a key topic, especially around calendaring and things like that. So we'll make sure you get a time to do that.
Pat,
Okay, thank you.
we're going to need that as well for specifically data entry with our court.
Okay.
Jim.
Yeah,
I don't know whoever.
we'll give you access. We'll make sure that you have access to the QA environment for core clericus so you can do your calendaring.
All right, great.
Okay, great. I noticed that now all three of the IT gurus have the trees in the background. I think Jim felt pressure. That's funny. I do like that version. It's very nice. Thank you, Pat, for your update. I did get a message that the New Perici Police Department is having technical difficulties trying to get in. So Todd, I don't know if you are watching for that or can see them, but it would be Lieutenant Chris, is it Melliker?
Melliker.
Melliker? Okay, great. Great. So Lieutenant would need to be able to, okay. Lieutenant Melliker, I'm sorry. If you can communicate to us, let us know that you can talk, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. And again, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Melliker.
Melliker, just like it's written.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry for my delay.
That's fine. We're glad you're here. Your speaking part is coming soon. All right. So we're going to move on to item 8, court update. So Jim Weaver, court's technical manager, to talk about JAWS.
Okay, good morning. Currently, we're working with, when I say we, I'm saying the courts and the Pasco clerk's office. IT is working with Pasco IT on getting the secure process of passing uploaded orders and cover letters into the internal network for the court to process. So that's the main thing that's being worked on right now. The programmers are working on cleaning up some email notices and some other issues. But once those things are cleaned up, which hopefully they'll be cleaned up in the next week or so, we'll be able to hopefully go live with the attorney site by the end of the month. So that would be very good. Wait and see. We'll have to do additional testing, of course, before we go live, but that's what we hope for right now. Of course, with more users using JAWS, we're finding other little issues that the programmers are also trying to clean up for us at the same time. Any questions? That's basically the attorney piece. So if all goes well, hopefully by the end of the month, that will come online. So any questions on the attorney piece?
I don't see any
I'll
questions or
take that as a
anything.
no.
Thank you.
No problem. And the next phase we're going to be working on is probate, with updating the work queue process there for the clerk's office to hopefully get rid of LexisNexis in the upcoming months. At the same time, the programmer is going to be working with the Pinellas programmers, working on a rewrite of Silverlight. And that's integrated within JAWS in a lot of different areas. So the plan sort of is for them to work together to create a common code base, which should be about 90% of the code. And then each county will have probably 10% difference. So if we can keep that core code the same, that would be very helpful for everybody all the way around. In the long run, changes everything. So we're doing a little bit of that at the same time. Currently, there's 12 judges, 1 GM, 1 general magistrate, 1 hearing officer signing orders. And in August, they signed over 1,000 orders. And between January and August, they signed 4,673 orders. So that's my update on JAWS for now. Any questions?
Okay, looks like there are no questions. Oh, Kim, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute. I wanted to clarify, make sure I understood what you said, Mr. Weaver, and that is that if all goes well, the attorney piece will be live by the end of this month?
Yes, if everything goes well. If we get everything we need to get done and tested properly, then, we're really close. It's just these couple little hurdles still.
Okay, that's awesome. So are there going to be communications that are sent out to like the bar or anything like that to notify them of the option of filing through JAWS, the proposed orders?
Yes, there will be some communication with the bar and others. I know that our court's PIO is going to be in touch with your PIO in order to make sure we send out the same information. But yes, all that will happen. Gay will send out notification to the bar. Update on internet sites will be updated to let them know it's there and ready. So yes, there will be communication once we're good to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Weaver? All right, then we shall move on to our item 9, e-filing update with the State Attorney's Office. Ms. Vicki Maurer, Operations Manager.
Good morning. Not much of an update. Earlier in the year, we did submit some budget items for some changes to Clericus. I don't have a status on them because, of course, COVID happened and I think everyone kind of just hunkered down. But we did some changes. I just what status of them, what their status is.
Thank you, Ms. Maurer. So can you explain who that was submitted to?
It was to OMB, and I had some communication with Mr. Brose early in the year, but again, that it was maybe in February. But there hasn't been anything since then. We've all just been trying to survive.
Right.
That's part of it.
I'm sorry, some of the requests were related to e-filing. I should have clarified that. Not all of them, but some of the requests were related to e-filing.
Okay.
The request is in the budget, it's part of next year's budget. So that's where that would be. And then we would have to submit those to let Civitech know that they can go ahead and start making those changes. So it's in the budget for next year.
And the good news here is that next year starts in October. I'm assuming we're talking the county fiscal year, or is it the state fiscal year?
County fiscal year.
Okay. Well, there you go, Vicki. Don't have to wait too much longer.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Now we're going to move on to item 10, the Justice Partner updates. And we're going to start again with Vicki, so don't go so far. Or the State Attorney's Office.
Not much of an update. We are back to full staff, working full time, playing catch up, which I suspect every agency is doing. But we're good. We're good. Just taking every day as it comes.
And the courts have moved into phase 2. So looking at doing jury trials in, I believe, criminal courts is a focus of the courts. And I know that we're working on that. I don't know if you wanted to make any comments on that with how your office is managing that.
We will be discussing, we did have a stakeholders meeting yesterday. Judge Crane has indicated that we're probably looking at trials being set starting the end of October, early November. It's going to be different than what we're used to as it relates to getting jurors in, but your office obviously knows that. We're going to roll with it. I don't think there's any firm plan. I know that Judge Crane said that the judges, he has to approve every trial that gets set. I think they're encouraging non-jury trials to make it as convenient, everyone having less contact. I don't believe that we've had any non-jury trials yet. They have been scheduling them, but I don't believe that we've actually had any go. Those will all be conducted remotely or through Zoom. But they're still working out a plan.
Great. I appreciate the update. I think that since we are moved into phase 2 of when the justice partner agencies are giving their updates, if they could talk about what does that mean to them, the courts going into phase 2, I think that would be great. So thank you, Ms. Maurer, for going first on the updates. All right, so we have Carrie Crea representing Mr. Dillinger for the public defender's update.
Hello.
Hello.
Not much to update other than we are back to full staff in the office. We still have maybe a few people working remotely, but otherwise we're all in the office. And the attorneys are all ready and set to handle however the judges are going to set the hearings, whether it be virtual or in court, however it's going to happen. We're ready.
Great. Well, thank you, Ms. Crea, for your update. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to jump in. Otherwise, we're just going to go through them. So we have Captain Eric Seltzer with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office.
Not much to update. As far as the moving into phase 2, we're just looking at security measures. I've been working with Judge Crane about different aspects of it. Obviously, trying to coordinate Zoom hearings versus live hearings and trials, because that affects our staffing and security, because we're, split if we start doing both. So we just have to make sure we have the manpower to manage both. We're looking at, again, how we're going to get everybody in when we start having people at the courthouse. We're going to open up both security stations, the magnetometers. So we'll use the attorney entrance as long as attorneys aren't coming through. If there's lines and stuff. So we're just looking at ways to be efficient, get everybody in and go from there. And it's going to be a fluid situation, as with everybody, I'm sure. So.
Yes, it will. And it won't be as regular, jury days as from
Right.
February and prior. It'll be much less groups. We'll get to that as we get through all of these. So, well, thank you, Captain, for your update. So we're going to move on to Mr. Weaver for court administration's update.
Yes, thank you. The chief judge is, of course, working with the Supreme Court guidelines on reopening in a safe manner. And like you said, we're working towards having some jury trials before the end of the year. I'm not up to date on everything Judge Crane has going on in Pasco, but we have been working with, we have traffic court starting next week in Dade City and the following week in Newport Richey via Zoom. So we're starting to bring some things back. We also been working very successfully with small claims pretrials via Zoom and DocuSign and JAWS. So that's been working well. Quite a bit of the staff is still teleworking for the courts. Coming back as needed as things move forward. We'll keep coming back as needed. And I just want to say thank you to the clerk's office and Pasco IT for assisting the courts with updating and sending out all the new notices with Zoom information and everything. Because those notices, it sounds like a very simple task to change a notice and send it out, but it is not. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate that. There is no easy button ever in any of our agencies, even for something as simple as just add this to the information. So greatly appreciate that, and also your update. Any questions or comments for Jim? Hearing none, we will move on to Lieutenant Melliker with the Newport Richey Police Department.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Nothing really to report on our end. We're in normal operation, fully staffed as much as we can possibly be, just following proper protocols as well as, directives, keeping the relationship going with Pasco Sheriff's Office and just following their lead and doing what we can, make sure everybody's safe and sound. We're continuously doing Zoom meetings for our hearings here at the Newport Beach Police Department, and just waiting for following the state attorney's directives as far as live invest as such.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you for your update. So we will move on to, I believe, Mr. Steinsnyder for the Board of County Commissioners update.
Not much to report. The board has been doing the hybrid virtual meetings since the July meeting, I believe. Why we have these lovely boxes that we're sitting in. And most departmental functions are still working remotely. Minimal staffing in the West Pasco Government Center for the county operation, although I believe the constitutionals are ramping back up some of their operations. My staff has started to do in the municipal ordinance prosecution live hearings and Zoom hearings in county court. There is a huge backlog of citations that were not processed because of COVID. And so we're trying to catch up with that and keep the board happy about doing code enforcement. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mr. Steinsnyder. The backlog, I think all our offices are suffering from the backlog and being able to get back on our feet. So we certainly appreciate those comments. Thank you. All right, so the last agency update is the Clerk Controllers Office with the Chief Operations Officer, Kim Thompson.
Good morning. Regarding phase 2, we attended that stakeholder meeting as well and met with the Justice Partners to discuss how to proceed with returning to some people coming into the building. And Judge Crane said it's going to be a slow and steady pace, and discussed that we are going to try and do jury trials starting in late October on Mondays and Wednesdays. And he has, as Vicki indicated, has to approve each trial to move forward. So together, the Justice Partners will be working through that. The clerk's office has also been working at 50% of our team teleworking, and the other part in the office social distancing throughout the entire pandemic. And we continue to do that and bring people in as needed. Also, we have installed plexiglass throughout our office in the customer service areas, and are starting to install it between our cubicles to maintain that box look, as Mr. Steinsnyder put it, to protect our teammates as well. So that's our update for phase 2 operations. We have 2 other topics that I'd like to discuss. The first one is to remind the agencies of the IS-15 workflow, that if they have people that need to have direct access to Clericus to view files, that we do have a process put in place that allows an individual to have access, like misdemeanor probation, or there are other agency guardian ad litem who have obtained access to Clericus through this workflow. We have one right now for, I believe, Mr. Weaver, the mediators for small claims cases. We're looking to get them access to Clericus because they don't currently have access to JAWS to view the documents they need to see. So we just need to get those forms completed so that we can have that access provided to them. And that will require Pat's team to give them access through Citrix as well. So just a reminder that we do have that workflow in place in case anyone needs to give someone access to the system.
So Kim, I have a question on that.
Yes.
The forms, are they available? Have they been sent out? Who needs to fill them out and submit them to Pat, and has that been communicated?
Okay, so the workflow, yes. The answer is yes, it has been communicated. I can resend the information out if necessary. The forms are completed by the sponsoring agency. So whether it's the sheriff's office or court administration or the county, whoever's sponsoring that access based upon the Supreme Court order that outlines the permissions for access to electronic records, will fill that out for that person and they actually submit it to our office first. Once we go through our process, we then provide it to Pat Rose's team and they give them the access to the Citrix accounts. And then that's when the user gets the access to the Citrix.
I have a question about the mediators. Won't they be going through the COSN, the clerks network, not a external network? I mean, because if it's on the courts network, they should be able to not need Citrix.
I don't know the answer to that. Pat, Jim, do you know how they're accessing?
The mediators are like court contracted people, so they're not on the court network per se. And currently everything's being done via Zoom, so they'll always be outside the network coming in. Even when we go back to normal, they would probably be using like an iPad with Wi-Fi to connect.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and just a quick update on that. We're currently just waiting to hear back from Pasco IT. There could be a cost associated with that. So that's what we're sort of waiting to see how we can accommodate or deal with that.
Yeah, we have to create an Active Directory account for everybody that would have to come in through Citrix. So that would have to be dealt with, and who's going to pay for that?
Okay, so I am not IT, so I'm going to try to rephrase that in non-IT talk, which was to answer Pat's question. It sounds like it will be going and connecting through the county and not the clerk's system. Did I say that correctly or incorrectly?
Correctly.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so Kim, you said you had two things. I think that was one of the two. If there's any other questions or comments on that one, but I don't think so.
The final item I would like to bring up is I sent an email out this morning notifying some of the partner agencies, but we are closed on September 28th for our annual in-service training. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. It's a Monday, September 28th.
Right.
We will.
Yes.
I'll be. The courtroom clerks will cover advisories because the court is closed as well. Those trainings are coordinated on days that the court is closed.
Okay. So, thank you, Kim, for your update. Any other questions or comments for Ms. Thompson? Hearing none, then we shall go on to item 11 for any additional business that anyone wants to bring before this board. None. I hear none. Okay, so I am going to then adjourn the meeting. It is 10:43. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance and participation.
Thank you.